I believe that anyone can make a positive difference in the world, great and small. I see it every day. And you don't have to be a celebrity or billionaire to do it. All you really need is the desire to use your unique gifts, talents, and passions, and then to simply begin. Hi, I'm Linda Mackey, and welcome to The Eloquent Entrepreneur, a place where I have conversations with everyday changemakers just like you. Join us and hear inspiring stories, hard-won wisdom, and discover practical tools to help you accelerate your impact. So whatever you're doing right now, listen in and prepare to be inspired. I'm super excited to introduce you to my friend and client, Pamela Thompson. She is an amazing change maker and business entrepreneur. She is a #1 best-selling author and a leadership consultant and coach, a professional facilitator and speaker. And I'm so excited because she has really come a long way. I think you were one of my first clients when we moved to Victoria. And you have done so much in your life already, but you've also, this is why you're here, to tell us your story and how far you've come and what you're up to right now, because what you're doing is so inspiring, and I'm excited to introduce you to everybody and share your story. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and, how you spend your days now.
Well, first of all, Linda, I'd just like to say thank you for that gracious introduction, and I'm excited to be here too.
Thank you.
So tell people what I do and what I like to do.
Yeah, so tell us about what you do in your work, and a little bit about your how you spend your time right now.
Okay, well, first of all, I'll share a little bit about me because I think it's helpful for people to understand where I'm coming from. I'm a really curious person. I love to learn. I knew from a very young age that I wanted to make a significant difference in the world. I love being in nature, and I love connecting with people. And I love travel. I particularly have been curious about people from different countries and cultures since I was like maybe 3 or 4 years of age. So anyway, that's a little bit about me, and that's led me on this journey. I also believe that life is an adventure to be lived to the fullest. So I try to stick to that.
Yeah.
And so I have currently what I'm doing. I think you want to know more currently what I'm up to, right? Or do you want to know
you told me you support women who want to step into their authentic feminine leadership and be catalysts for change. And I know that's something that you've always done in your life and in your travels and stuff like that. So you can speak to that, and I will chat about how you got here. But I think what you're doing right now is really pulling everything together, right?
Thank you. Yes, it actually is. It's interesting. I think when we start this journey of life, Linda, yes, I set goals, but I never envisioned that all the things would happen to me that did. And it was like, I feel like I'm kind of coming full circle now in terms of using my gifts and talents in the world. Yeah, so that's correct. I support women to step into their authentic feminine leadership and become catalysts for change. In this world we live in now, you've got to be. Change is so important, and I have a 5-step art of change framework that's based on the metaphor life is a dance and underpinned by the belief that embracing change is a creative process that opens us up to new possibilities. So I do workshops on this, I speak on this, I write about this, and I also coach from time to time. I don't have that many one-on-one clients. I tend to prefer groups at this point in my life, but I have done a lot of coaching with quite high-achieving women in the past. My most excited, I would say, my new adventure now that is bringing the circle together is I was named ambassador for Canada of a global social movement called Female Wave of Change in March 2020. So it was just after COVID hit. I signed the partnership agreement on March 20th. I was, on social media, the 22nd, the founder put me on, and the 24th, I was part of the global strategy meeting. So it was just like a whirlwind. So anyway, Female Wave of Change Global is this global social movement that's all about leadership development and increasing the number of authentic feminine leaders in the world. And by authentic feminine leaders, I mean women who are compassionate, creative, intuitive, collaborative. So it's really tapping into really the feminine side of ourselves to complement the masculine. And as a caveat, I'd just like to say that men as well as women can have these qualities and learn them. However, they really are associated with the feminine. They've been underplayed and I think undervalued in our society to date. And now since COVID-19 has hit, so many political leaders now internationally that are women have stepped up to the plate and more rapidly and efficiently and effectively dealt with the pandemic. And yet they've done it from a place of heart and empathy and caring for their folks, like Jacinda Ardern in New Zealand, our own British Columbia, Bonnie Henry, medical officer of health, be calm, be safe, be caring, it's a real time to step into the feminine. And this organization, part of it also is to create a legacy, to create a better world, a more conscious, equitable, just, sustainable, and peaceful one. So it's a big mission. And part of that mission, when I was invited, I took some time to make the decision on it. Part of that mission and the commitment was to create a legal entity in Canada. So I did some research and had some help from UVic Business Law Clinic, which is really helpful. They provide pro bono services. And out of that, I decided on the governance structure I wanted for Canada. And so I incorporated Female Wave of Change Canada on December 7th as a national nonprofit. So we've been moving full steam ahead since that.
You had a very busy year.
Small board, and we had an initial gathering January 21st, and we're starting our first set of monthly meetings on March the 8th, International Women's Day.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Yeah, we'll learn more about that as well. But first, you told me you had an interesting story how you first got connected with the Female Wave of Change. That's an interesting story, and how serendipitous it was, and just I think things happen for a reason, obviously, and things align. But your story is quite interesting. And
it was. Well, thanks for asking. Yes, I met Ingun Bol, the founder, who's based in the Netherlands, in, I'm going to say 2018 on LinkedIn, and we had a Skype call. People used Skype more than Zoom back then, and about an hour-long Skype call, and we realized we had some things in common. So we decided to stay in touch and support each other in different ways via social media and such like. And in 2019, I had a radio show called The Art of Change, where I interviewed inspiring women leaders and change makers from around the world. And I invited her, and at that point, to tell her story as a leader and talk about how you build a social movement. Anyway, long and the short is, it's really interesting what happened. And then we stayed in touch. And then before I knew, I was interviewed by she and one of her board members, and they offered me ambassador for Canada. So it was like kind of interesting how these things happen. And it shows you the power of social media and a platform like LinkedIn, right? This woman is based in the Netherlands, right? And that's how we met. And then
that's amazing. And I think a lot of it has to do with, you had your vision and desire to, your lifelong desire to make a difference. And, when you put that energy out, it does come back. So it finds you, I find,
She's an amazing woman too, Ingun Bol. She's the epitome of an authentic feminine leader. She's a wonderful person. And the movement she's created is now in almost 50 countries around the world. She's got ambassadors in almost 50 countries now.
Yeah. And that must have been no easy feat, just the whole legal side. I mean, is that something you had experience with before, or you just kind of figured it out as you went along?
I've served on nonprofit boards before, but I've never drafted bylaws or started a nonprofit from scratch. So this is yet a new adventure I'm on here, Linda. Yeah, starting up a nonprofit, right?
I love how brave you are, and just, I don't know, I mean, I wouldn't even know where to start in doing that kind of thing. I mean, you took the bull by the horns, and you just went for it and figured it out. And you're Ambassador of Canada is well deserved. You told me so many things. So you were talking about the 5 pods based on 5 pillars. Can you talk about that? And that's to do with the Female Wave of Change, and that's something you created together as a group in the Female Wave of Change?
Yes. Part of Female Wave of Change is about making a difference, but it's not all about the rhetoric. There's been some amazing, I'll just give a little bit of front end here, if I may.
Sure, yeah.
There's been some really significant, impactful on-the-ground projects. For example, in Africa, so some of the women involved in financial services ended up educating women market traders in financial literacy and enabled them to get mortgages so that they could buy and pay them off and own their own homes, which was huge, is very huge, right? Incredibly empowering for any woman to be able to do that, right? So we're not all about the rhetoric, we're all about action. And so part of what we did was to develop this document called Reshaping the Future. And it was a call to action for leaders around the world to join us to make a difference in 5 areas, which are the 5 pillars, which are in this document that I helped write. And they are education, economy, environment, health, and humanity. And there are now 5 pillars at the international level, and with some amazing women that are part of them, generating really cool events and frameworks and all sorts. And my vision for Female Wave of Change Canada is to create 5 pods. I'm going to call them pods because I really love I love the visual of a milkweed pod, and it breaks open and all those fluffy things float around and disseminate, spread their messages all around the place, right?
Yeah.
My vision is to create 5 pods associated with the 5 pillars and have them co-facilitated by ideally one woman who's a subject matter expert. So could be someone who's an expert in climate change or the environment, and then someone who maybe really wants to flex their muscles or stretch their comfort zone related to facilitating. So co-facilitating one of those pods with someone who's a subject matter expert so that they can do this. And other people as well can participate in pods of their choice and create events, initiatives, projects. And the sky's the limit, really. And I'm quite excited about it. And I think there's a lot of power in it, because what I know to be true is when you get diverse women in a room from different backgrounds and cultures and disciplines, magic happens. When you get all same old, you don't get as much richness. I've come to know that as a facilitator over the number of years I've been a facilitator. So I'm really excited about it and looking forward to how it organically grows.
Yeah, big time. I mean, there's so much opportunity here, and I'm excited about joining because, I think we all have so much to contribute. And this is, it's not only in Canada; it's all over the world, right?
That's right.
This organization. So you're heading up the Canadian group, along with, or you alone, or do you have other people working with you?
I am heading up the Canadian group to basically grow the network and community across Canada. And I will eventually, I have a very small board of 2 women right now, a treasurer and a secretary, who are supporting me. And we're now looking at having ambassadors from different parts of Canada. And so women who will then grow the network, if you will, in their regions. For example, we may have one for Ontario because it's a large province, and we may have a regional one for a couple of the eastern or maritime provinces.
Right.
See how it flows out, but I definitely cannot do this alone.
Yeah,
small because you have to start small, but the intention is to attract women And we call them wavemakers as part of Female Wave of Change. And wavemakers actually step up and are more active in recruiting people and doing things and contributing ideas. Then we have ambassadors from different areas who will sit on the board that meets once a month and contribute to that and strategy, if you will. And then folks who are members who can contribute in whatever ways they wish.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is such a great opportunity because part of the purpose of this blog series or podcast or whatever you want to call it is to have people like yourself speak about what you do in your journey and inspire other people. It doesn't have to be just women, but just for ideas on how they can, because I think a lot of people want to make a difference, but it's really hard because they think, you know, who am I to do this? Or I don't have time, or I don't know what to do. And it's a great opportunity to be part of something much bigger than themselves, that they can actually pull in their gifts and passions. And like, I love how there's so many different areas that you are touching that can pull in, you know, everyday change makers. And that's what it's all about, really. And as a collective, we can really, like you said, make a wave of change. I love that metaphor too, the wave makers. Amazing. So yeah, so that's pretty inspiring.
Further to, I like how you just framed that, Linda, everyday change makers, because that's what we're about. We're about leaders in families, in communities, in workplaces. You don't have to be a CEO.
Yeah, exactly.
We're
celebrity.
We're at different levels in their leadership journey, as well as ones who have, you know, who have done a lot as well, because then they can support others.
Yeah. Now, is this organization, I know it's worldwide, but I mean, and they're making a difference in different parts of the world. Is the Canadian branch, is that going to focus more on, or somewhat, or part on Canadian issues, like within Canada?
Yes, that said, Linda, there's an incredible opportunity to link with the global team. There's a leadership development program that was developed globally called Women Leading in Change, which is a 3-month program that has not only modules where you do on your own, but also face-to-face contact with women leaders from diverse backgrounds and cultures who've designed it. And so there's an opportunity for people from Canada to apply and take that program. And also then when we get a core of folks who've done that, then they can deliver the program in Canada. So there's that opportunity to spin that out in kind of like a train the trainer model.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So we want to do things in Canada. That said, there's opportunities to get support, to get ideas, to contribute at the global level, because we have annual global conferences. There's, different webinars that happen. We're developing a new website. We were recently rebranded and in the process of developing a new website globally. And there'll be an educational platform on there where people will be able to put courses and things, and they've yet to develop the business model around that. But yes, the incredible opportunities.
Yeah, no, and there's so much information on that website, and I'll include that in the notes here. But I wanted to know kind of like the actual like on the ground support, or is that something that's going or is happening within Canada? Because you mentioned a project that you worked on in Africa. Is there similar ones happening in Canada, or will be in the future?
Well, that's up to the pods. If the pod of humanity, for example, decides that they want to spin out that financial services, something similar with a different type of women here that maybe are underserved. Certainly, I've already had when I incorporated and I put it on Facebook on Female Wave of Change Global. I already had one of the key women from Kenya who was involved in that project reach out and say, well, if you want to do something similar in Canada, I'm here for you. So incredible support actually from the global level.
Yeah. And I love the idea of the mentorship program, because that's something I would be interested in personally. And I think a lot of people would be as well. And plus the education platform that's going to be coming up on the Female Wave of Change site as well. So that's pretty inspiring. And I know, you've been talking about how you're making an impact, but I know that you've you've kind of made an impact throughout your life in your career. And so this is where I love you to speak about your time in Pakistan. I know we have that in common. I spent some time in Pakistan as well, and your book and your blog. And can you speak to that a little bit? I mean, you can kind of tell us a little bit of your journey and sort of the things you've done along the way that, of how you're making an impact. Because I think a lot of people are interested in, like, well, how do I make an impact? And what does that look like?
Well, thank you. And I must say, as I say, it's like at this point in my life, it's one thing when you reach a certain age to have done a lot of stuff. If you're a person who gets bored in a short space of time and moves on to something else. I shouldn't say that, but it's partially true, right? But I always knew in my heart that I wanted to make a difference, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
And I've always loved people and cultures. And I guess it all started, I was doing a bit of consulting. I've had 4 businesses since the early 90s, a couple of consulting businesses, a coaching business, and now a coaching and consulting company, Creative Life Coaching and Consulting. And what happened is when my youngest child, I have 2 kids, when my son was 17, I decided, he was almost finished high school, that was the time for me to really spread my wings and do more international work, because my husband at the time, their dad, he was an international consulting engineer and traveling all around the world. So I felt I had to have some roots for the family. But anyway, so I reached out in my network. Anyway, ended up meeting someone who referred me to the vice president of AgriTeam Canada Consulting, which is an amazing international development consulting group that has an office in Gatineau that used to be close to the old CETA, Canadian International Development Agency,
Yeah.
and also headquartered in Calgary. So anyway, I started to work with them on a mat leave and ended up, I thought I was only going to do it like 2 days a week on contract, and ended up working for them for something like 4.5 years and moving to Calgary. And through that, what we did is I was one of their 2 health sector specialists, and we designed and managed international development projects around the world in a variety of sectors. So part of that was you helped write the bid, and if you won the bid, then you'd be the director, for example. So I stepped in in Pakistan, and I was project director of an HIV/AIDS surveillance project there. They had no data on HIV and how it was spreading, and so we helped build that surveillance system in Pakistan. I don't want to get too technical here, but anyway, that was an amazing journey because I had like an office with 14 staff in Islamabad and a field manager, and 1 in each provincial AIDS control program. And I would go about every 3 months to monitor and build capacity. And I was ultimately responsible for that project. And it ended up being funded for 10 years. I wasn't project director for 10 years. I was there for 3 years, and then I went on to be project director on the very front end. So I helped write the bid. We won it. So it was about, you have a design team with these donor funded projects. You go on the ground, you meet with key stakeholders. I love to help people vision, and I've done a lot of strategic planning. So getting people together. This one was in 2 states, in a Muslim state in the Muslim north, and a Christian state in the south. So bringing them together, initially having them apart, bringing them together to share their visions, their challenges, and what they saw. And those kind of things I find so energizing, because sometimes people think that they're totally different, right? They think, oh, we're Muslim, we're in the north, people think we're backward, we're not very well educated. The Christians in the south, they got it together, and they don't really like us. And then you bring people together. And at the national workshop, where we brought some people from both states together who had done the previous work to share their challenges and their visions, they realized, one man stood up, head of policy and planning, and he said, brothers and sisters, I did not realize, I really thought we were so different, and our visions and our mission and our challenges would be totally different. And I'm here to say that you're just like us. Your challenges and your vision is just like ours. Brothers and sisters, I'm so looking forward to working together with you on this. So it's like you can build bridges, right? When you bring people together doing that kind of work, I found was very, very fulfilling. And meeting with midwives on the ground, finding their challenges, looking at how we could support them in different ways.
Well, that's pretty huge. Like to actually bridge that mindset, right, from two different groups of people.
Yeah, and so I really thrived in that environment, and yet I was called the coach. Somebody said, "Why don't you do coaching?" And so anyway, and then I had a coaching business for a while, and then within about 18 months, I was missing the international. And lo and behold, I get this email offering me to throw my hand into the ring for one of three positions in Pakistan, or not Pakistan, Afghanistan. And so I thought about it, and I thought, oh, this one's got my name on it. You know, technical advisor, strategic planning and performance measurement. So I ended up taking it, and I was 13 months in Kabul working with the Ministry of Public Health to help them develop their first strategic plan and build the capacity of internal teams to do strategic and operational planning. So I've had an incredible journey. Along the way, I almost burnt it out. And so hence I took some time off and wrote my book. And one of the things I really feel strongly about for women is for us to really listen to and trust in our body's wisdom. Because if you have a lot of passion, and you have passion, and many of the folks that I've worked with have a lot of passion, and I work with, we want to give, and we want to do some amazing work. However, we need to listen to our body and take breaks, because if we don't, in the long, it can have really negative health implications, not to mention, in your relationships as well as your work, right? And so I really took some time, and I ended up identifying these 7 keys to what I call creative living, 7 keys to consciously cultivating improved health, happiness, fulfillment, and inner peace. And those are in my book that's called Learning to Dance with Life, a guide for women. And it was sparked by me almost burning out, then taking the time, starting to study mindfulness, starting to meditate every day, spending more time in nature. So I really live what I write. And, that's another reason why Female Wave of Change I really connected with it, because these values of compassion and empathy and being emotionally intelligent. I mean, we can always learn more. None of us are perfect, right? But to me, that is so important. And for us to own our strengths and not try to be masculine, which is what we often did in the past to make it in corporate, or to make it, I was an academic for a while, to make it in academia. Wherever it was, it's like you felt like you had to sort of put on a different sort of clothing or shield and be someone different. And now Wave of Change is all about stepping into your feminine attributes. And sure, we need the masculine side too to get things done. However, our intuition, our compassion, and all these things are so important now.
Yeah, that's been a huge thing for me, is because I've always known, I think we're very similar that way, because I've always known that I would do something to help animals. Like, animals have always been a huge part of my, just what I feel really strongly about. And obviously that extends to the earth and all the other stuff. But just having this real kind of highly sensitive nature and compassion and empathy and all that kind of stuff. And I always used to sort of, suppress it, because I thought they were my weaknesses, but they're actually over the last while, I realized those are my superpowers. Those are the reasons, because I hold them so highly as values. They always keep coming up, right? And you can't suppress it, right? Because I always thought, like I said, they were, I'm too sensitive, I'm too weak, but now I've kind of realized that these are my superpowers, and then I can really use these to make a difference. So to all those people who feel like, kind of similar feelings or whatever, or that they have to be a certain way to succeed, which is more maybe not that masculine's bad, but like, just really kind of tap into that feminine and compassion and empathetic or empathic side. And, listen to that, because it's there for a reason, right? So,
totally.
And I love the whole idea of your art, the dancing with life and the 7 keys. Can you touch on a few of those to share what some of those are, just to give people a better picture?
Yeah, well, one of them is listen to and trust in your body's wisdom, because I don't know about you, Linda, but I certainly, when I reflect on my life, the decisions I've made totally from my logical left brain have not always been the right ones for me. But
Yeah,
the ones that
same.
I'm like tapping into my heart and my gut have always been
Yeah,
the right ones, right? And so I teach my clients, and I write and speak about this too, about different mindfulness practices, scanning your body first thing in the morning before you get out of bed from head to foot, so that you notice if you have any tension, and then you take breaths and you try to release it. And it just gives you an opportunity to ground yourself as well before you hit the ground running. Because I don't know about you, Linda, but a number of years ago, I used to hit the ground running. I'd wake up and I was like, God, getting my
yeah,
kids ready and whatever. I'm in a different phase of my life here now, but even still. And so, teaching the importance of grounding, spending time in nature. Another
yeah.
one is tap into and express your creative side. And
That's huge.
that
Yeah,
also really helps with the intuition and listening to your body's wisdom, because a lot of times, again, society has undervalued the creative side, and you're a huge creative, right? It's like, and everything, the science, everything was very science driven and data driven. And there's obviously a place for that, and that's huge. It's gotten us a long way. However, this tap into and express your creative side, I encourage people to reflect on things they loved doing when they were a kid that they don't do anymore. Could be
yeah,
drawing, painting, playing piano, or things that they've always wanted to do, but they never had the chance to take it up again and reconnect with it and notice how it makes them feel. Because when we tap into our creative side, not only do we have the opportunity to share our gifts like you do with your photography, for example, Lydia, you're an amazing photographer. And other people do, like I love to write. I blog every couple of weeks. I love to write. And others paint and whatever, sing, dance, garden, whatever it is. And when we do that, it also helps us get out of our heads, right?
yeah,
I
yeah,
it's really true, right? If you're using your superpower and you're in your creative side, for example, you totally are not worrying about stuff. You're totally not thinking about tomorrow or last week. You're totally in the moment, right? And
yeah.
so
You connect with your soul. Like I really find that when I find myself not um, being, oh, this light's driving me nuts. um, you know, creating like is such a big part of my life, as you know, and when I'm not, I really feel disconnected. But when I do the things that I love doing other things too that are creative, like I play guitar, and I've kind of missed doing some of those things. But like you said, when you do go back to the things that you used to enjoy when you were a kid, they really do connect you more to your soul. So, maybe rediscovering some of those things or going back to them, or trying new things even is so huge. In feeling like you are, I don't know, I make it like I feel more at home, I guess, I don't know how to describe it, but I feel more empowered, that's for sure, when I do tap into that creative side.
cool.
So, yeah. But yeah, I encourage everybody to check out your book. And you're in the middle of a new one, aren't you? Or almost.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm quite in the middle. I'm part way.
Oh, part way. Okay. And what's that one about? Or what's it?
Well, it's called the working title. It's fiction. This one is fiction. The other one's nonfiction. It's called The Exploits of Minerva, Reflections of a 60-something Woman. So I'm giving my age away here, Linda. I don't do that too often, but
So
anyway.
Don't look your age.
Well, thank you. But anyway, yeah. And so what it is, it's about this woman, Minerva, and it obviously has a bit about me in there too, but it's a character I've created. And she's been in a women's circle for 25 years, and there's like seven women who've been with her, and they've shared each other's sorrows and supports. So the book is all about helping women in this decade connect and realize they're not alone, but also helping others understand what it's like. And so I'm going to go through different transitions that people experience, particularly at that time, like dealing with aging parents. And what I'm doing is, like, I interviewed a friend of mine, a dear friend of mine, the other day.
Yeah.
And she was a woman, she's got a mother who's going through Alzheimer's. So what's that like? I've been divorced, right? And so I've got a chapter, should I stay or should I go? So I'm trying to make it kind of a la Bridget Jones, sort of fun as well.
Oh, sounds
But I
awesome.
want
Yeah.
it to be comfortable.
I
But
would
I'm having
definitely
fun
do
with
that.
it. So yeah, I'm having fun with it.
Yeah, no, that sounds something I would totally read. I mean, I'm not a big fiction reader, but I would definitely be interested in that because I like stories that have like a purpose, I guess. Like, what can I learn from this, you know? That sounds awesome. Well, I'm excited to talk more about your photography and stuff like that, but I have a question for you. I know you've got so many gifts. And I think this is something that, is part of the purpose of this show is to really tap into what are your gifts or your superpowers. So what would you say is your greatest gift that you feel in your heart is your greatest gift and how does that show up on a day-to-day basis? Because I think that's something maybe people struggle with is like, okay, well, I want to do this big thing, right? And because that was kind of my thing. I want to, help with this big thing of, animals getting hurt around the world and stuff like that. And but it was too big for me, So what's your greatest gift, would you say, if you were to pick one?
Well, I would say the ability to connect with people from diverse cultures and backgrounds, Linda. I don't know what it is, but I feel like I was gifted this from birth or before. Because I remember this, if I may just share a little story here. I was in Afghanistan for 3 months, and obviously I didn't speak Pashto or Dari. I learned a few words, hello, goodbye, thank you, whatever. And I was walking down the hall with one of my team, the only Muslim female woman who was part of my team, and we got to be really, really good friends. And all of a sudden, this woman stopped me in the hall, and she didn't speak English, and she hugged me and kissed me. They kissed 3 times, and we were walking along, and people would say, "Hi, Pam," who could speak English. And Zaleha, my friend and colleague, said, "Pam, how is it that you're not even from here, and you've only been here 3 months, and all these people know you and connect with you? How is that?" And I truly don't know, but I just and I feel comfortable. It doesn't matter if it's, like in the Pakistan project, we interviewed sex trade workers. We interviewed injection drug users. We went to Bangladesh, and we met with a pimp and his girls, and we sat with them and interviewed. And then I can, interview and meet with the head of the Pan American Health Organization. It doesn't faze me, right?
That's a huge gift.
So I don't, I feel very blessed. I feel very blessed that I have it.
That's huge. I mean, and that just shows how, your energy that you put out and the compassion is true. It's true compassion. That is true compassion. Being able to connect with literally anyone.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, that is a true gift because I think that's quite rare. Because as a human, humans are naturally judgmental. And that's something that I see you just. It's not even in your realm of existence.
Well, thank you. Every now and again, none of us are perfect, but I feel like, yes. And also because I've had the opportunity to live and work on 5 continents. I mean, what I know to be true, what I've experienced is that we're really all the same. So when it doesn't really matter what culture you're from, what color your skin is, what your religion is, most of us care about family. We want to belong. We want to be respected. We want to be loved. I mean, we all have those core needs. And if imagine if we came from our heart and that's what we thought, the world would be a totally different place from what it is today.
Yeah, and I think it's why not everybody can travel around the world. And I mean, I have to say, I've traveled a lot, thankfully, gratefully, and I feel the same way because I've met people from many different countries. And, it's true what you just said. I mean, we're all the same, literally. We have all the same hopes and fears and dreams and all those things. But, I think the important thing is, for those who aren't able to travel or able to experience that thing, it's just listening to people like yourself and being open, I think is really important. And, you know, because sometimes when you, I don't know, I mean, being able to see the world is one thing, right? And then not, you know, there's some people who have never stepped out of their own like town, right? So it's a difficult thing, but I think, yeah, like just being able to open your heart is huge. And, you know, I don't know, try to just see from different perspectives. I mean, that's really what this is all about. And, you know, just doing the best we can, I guess, with what we've got, you know? So, but, so to, I guess, I mean, this has obviously not all been easy. So you had any, what were some of the main challenges do you think you've had in just trying to do all this stuff?
Okay, well, the challenge is, you know, to take care of myself, like to
Yeah.
you know, to not work, like, because when you're in the field, when I, you know, was working on these projects in Afghanistan, sometimes you're working like 12 and 14-hour days. And one can
Yeah.
do it for a short space of time, but when you're on the ground for, like when I used to be project director in Pakistan and Nigeria, I'd go like every 3 months for 4 to 6 weeks, right? So that's one thing. But if you actually live on the ground for 13 months in a war zone, right, it's totally a different thing. You know, even though I'm not thinking about a suicide bomb attack and I don't live in stress all the time, it's still there, right? And you just feel like there's so much to do. So that's one of the challenges for me, is just saying, okay, enough already. And, you know, and I kind of struggle with that because I have a lot of things I want to do. And so, yeah, just saying, okay. And I am very good with my self-care. I do meditate. I do pretty well go for a walk in nature every day because that really grounds me and clears me. And I do yoga 3 times a week. So, you know, I am fairly active. But I guess the other thing is every now and again, I had an experience on one of my projects where you meet someone who, there is a gender bias still, you know, and particularly in some, usually I don't have an issue, but at one point I did. And it was like when I rated this person on their performance appraisal as a 3 out of 5 on several categories, they didn't like that. So they came and we spent like 4 hours together and they wanted me to change how I'd rate them on their performance. And they said, "Aren't you my friend?" You know, it was a man, right?
Oh,
So, I mean, that was a challenge because you're like, well, was I not being right? You see, it makes you question yourself sometimes when you're really pushed up against it. Like, I gotta say, that hasn't happened. Like, I can only remember that one real time. Most of the time I feel like people say, do you have to act differently around Muslim men? And I've been their boss. I've been on teams, you know, and I don't think so. You have to respect their cultures. And obviously we can get away with different things than a Muslim woman would be able to, right? But as long as you respect their culture and dress appropriately and you know, again, people know if you're authentic, right? Linda, you were talking about from your heart, eh? That's what it's about. If you people and come from the heart and realize they're people and we all have our issues. One time I'm not sure I've ever shared this before. One time I was really upset because we had a national workshop for managers when I worked in Afghanistan. And one guy basically hadn't prepared his piece because near the end, like, I believe all about building capacity. So from the get-go, when you start an international development project, you're thinking about your exit strategy. So you think, how can I build these people's capacity so that when I leave, it won't fall apart, right? So by the time, you know, the last few months I was there, they were delivering these workshops and I was there in their native language and I was there. And then certain pieces I would get translated so that I could contribute, right? But they'd facilitate the small groups. You know, they do pieces, teaching pieces, I do, but they did most of it so that when I left, they could continue. And one time we had one, and I really like things to go well. I definitely have a perfectionist streak, although I don't, like, I want to do my best job, although I know that perfection is never so, right? But anyway, at this particular time, I got really upset and it affected, you know, the workshop, and probably it affected us more who are part of the team delivering it than anybody who was out in the audience, because we always got really good reviews on our workshops. But anyway, I remember we were debriefing, and I couldn't help it. I started to have tears running down my cheeks. And I'm like, not a good thing for a woman to be crying amongst all these men, right? And you're their your team lead or their boss, so to speak. Right? It's like, not a good thing.
Well, you're just being true to yourself and your emotions, and
That's right.
I think it's better to express than suppress. I think. So let's talk about I know we did your photos in 2017. So how did you feel about that? And I mean, I guess I just want to people to know, like, you're a change maker, you're a business owner, and how did the photos help you in what you're doing in your business, and what was your experience like, and that kind of thing?
Okay, well, first of all, my experience. I'd never done a photo, like I've had headshots done before, but this was my first real photo shoot. And I felt pampered. I felt totally relaxed in your presence. You made me feel really special. You had a makeup artist there. So, well, most of us like to be made up. I don't wear much makeup these days, but yeah, it was really nice. And it was really fun because I got to bring wear at least 3 different outfits. And I love that you also take photographs in nature as well as in studio, because I love nature. I actually have a faith statement, and part of it is nature connects me with my soul. So for me, that was really cool. And some of the shots I felt that you did in nature were really special. And you captured, because I wore different outfits and we were indoors and outdoors, I think you captured different aspects of my personality, which was great, right?
Yeah.
So that was fun. And obviously the quality too, the quality indoor and out, the lighting was really good. And I used them because I was doing a rebrand or a real refocus at that time. And so I was creating a new website. And so I used a lot of photographs on that site.
Do you think they've helped you in your business and helped move things or connect you as you would in real life? I mean, that's sort of my goal when I take people's photos. I want them to be you so that you can connect.
Oh, yeah. I feel like I've used them not only for my website, I've also used them. I've been on a number of podcasts. I obviously had my radio show. When you speak, I think they definitely have. And because the quality speaks and the variety, and when I think you capture people's authenticity, Linda, so they didn't look fake. I don't think that. I feel that they portray different aspects of me, right? Because we all have different aspects of ourselves.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, that's why I mean, I don't know. I shy away from the headshot word, because a headshot to me, it just shows what you look like. And that headshot kind of comes from, back when they were doing like auditions and stuff for actors and stuff, they would call them headshots, because they just really want to see what the person, if they're going to be a good fit for the role or whatever. So I love to use the word portrait, because a portrait to me is more of an expression of who the person is and their personality and stuff like that. So I try not to use the word headshot. I know it's like, kind of the hashtag, for business people or whatever, but I know that's my own personal philosophy on it. But yeah, I'm going to share some of the photos we did in the show, so people can see kind of what we did together. And so how do you, like, I know you said there's so many things you want to still do. I mean, what are some of those things? Like, where do you see yourself in the next five years or so?
Well, I see being part of a thriving community of authentic feminine leaders, a part of female wave of change across Canada, connected to the global network of supportive women leaders.
Yeah.
And I see amazing women working together to make a positive difference in the world. I see several books. I see speeches. I see interviews. Yes, I see largely, I guess those are the main things. And I also see time with my grandkids, because I now have 4. They're all in Calgary, and they're age 2 or 3. One's 4 and one's 5. So
sure, you miss them so much. Yeah,
I do. So also, spending time with them, and hopefully having them be intrigued in making a difference and shining their light and discovering their gifts and all.
You're such a great example. So, and it sounds like you've really come full circle. I think with this female wave of change, it looks like this is your vehicle. This is what you're meant to be here for, and bring it to its fullest potential. And I'm excited to be a part of it and inspire other people to join, other women especially. Is it open to men, or is it just for women?
That's a good question, Linda. It is. And in fact, there is a circle of wise women that's connected to the global group. And there are some men that are a part of that. And even there's men that are wavemakers. So certainly men are not excluded.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, I mean, I really, I'm all about women empowerment, but I'm also about male empowerment because, I think there's a lot of men out there that have similar, the same mindset, and, who genuinely want to make a difference in the world. And, we're all kind of, I don't know, there obviously are differences between men and women, but I don't know. I love men, and I think I love women. I love people in general. So I think we all have so much potential to really tap into our gifts and really do and make a mark really in the world. So what advice would you give? Because like I said before, I mean, a lot of people, I think, are scared or they're intimidated and they don't really know what to do. Like, what would be maybe a couple of pieces of advice on just how to get started, or like make a decision to do something outside of their, day-to-day job,
Right. Well, one of the things that I do with my clients, and it's actually, I should say to Linda, in my book, when I was writing my book, I was also running a virtual group coaching program with high achieving women. And it was called Staying Healthy in Body, Mind, and Spirit While Living Your Passion. And there are exercises. So one of the things I recommend is people really get in touch with their passions. And a really simple exercise that's in my book, which is on Amazon, by the way, is that you write 2 columns and you just, you basically do a brain dump. And the heading of one column is things I'm good at and things that really light me up, if you will. Because you can be really good at math or sports, but they're not really your thing. But and then you kind of look at the things that are similar in both, and your passions are things that light you up, or things that you enjoy doing so much that when you're doing them, you lose track of time. For example, like my husband, he loves film editing. So when he edits, that's one of the things, he totally loses track of time, right? Loses track of time.
Yeah.
And when I write his books sometimes, totally lose track of time, right? So getting in touch with your passion. Then, sometimes, getting a coach is helpful. I know you've had a coach, and I've had coaches as well as being one. And, because it's helpful to really get clear on who you are, and then, set an action plan to move forward. I really love working in groups. I forgot to say workshops as well. I love designing workshops and events to make them really interactive. So, because not only from my perspective, they're learning or they're growing, but it's also people learn so much from each other, right? Sharing experiences and the light bulbs go on and stuff. So get clear, get some clarity around your passion, and then look for a group that you feel that you can make a difference in. Like female wave of change.
That's what you originally said in your answer, was the idea of just joining a group of like-minded people, whether it's women, men and women, whoever, that will help kind of inspire you and stimulate you and support you in, whatever it is that you are, that, buoys you up.
Yeah. And I think the safe, supportive space is really critical.
Yeah, that's huge.
Because to do this, you're stepping outside of your comfort zone. That's again, one of the keys learned from and embrace life transitions. We need to, step out. It takes courage to step out. And the more we do it, it's like a muscle, right? The more we exercise it, the easier it is.
Exactly. I know, especially nowadays where we have to really put ourselves out there on Zoom and video and I don't know, just all the different places, right? So
that's true, yes.
That's become part of my education process now, because, we kind of have to put ourselves out there right? So yeah, the more you do it, just like anything, the easier it gets. So wow. Well, thank you so much, Pamela, for coming on the show. It's so great to reconnect with you. And I'm going to share all the information, like the links to your website and to the Female Wave of Change and your books, and any other information that we talked about that people can look up online and learn more about. And yeah, I'm excited for your journey and to see how things go with the Female Wave of Change and your business. And yeah, I hope to, keep in touch with you. I'm sure we will.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Linda, for taking the time to interview me. It's been an honor to be on your show. It's always fun to have a conversation with you. And I really enjoy and value your creativity and your passion as well, and your sensitivity. So good for you to push yourself out there to do this kind of work. And if I may I share the March 8th meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
I was going to mention that, but I forgot.
We're having our inaugural monthly meeting. We're going to have monthly meetings as part of Female Wave of Change Canada. And it's on International Women's Day, March the 8th, from 4:30 to 6 p.m. Pacific. So 7:30 till 9, I guess, Eastern. And that's going to be on Eventbrite. And if people, I don't have the link right now, but if people want more details on that, it's called, I have to read here because I've changed the title a few times, Embracing Feminine Leadership Qualities, Challenges and Lessons Learned. And I'm going to be moderating a panel of 3 amazing, authentic feminine leaders, one from corporate, one who's a serial social entrepreneur, and another one who has a PhD in engineering and is now getting into change and authenticity, and really interesting women, and talking about what are game changers for you in terms of the authentic feminine leadership qualities that really make you shine, and what have been some challenges, and what are some strategies, and how can we elevate and embrace these qualities that we have that we may have hidden or suppressed for a while. So I'm really excited about it. So if people want more information, I will send you the link. But if people want to know more, they can look at the link femalewaveofchangecanada.com, fwccanada.com, and also they could email me at Pamela@femalewaveofchange.com. So
okay, yeah. So all the information on how to join will be up on the website at some point in terms of the Eventbrite and how to join.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Yeah, I'm excited about that. It's in my calendar.
Great. Well, I look forward to having you there.
All right. Well, thanks again, Pamela. And that was a good talk. Thank you. It was long, but awesome. I think we covered so much information and inspiring stories. And yeah, all the best to you and everything. And we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode of The Eloquent Entrepreneur, Conversations with Everyday Changemakers, and that you're feeling supercharged and inspired to make your positive impact in the world. Because one thing I know for sure is that together we can create a lasting legacy and ignite others to do the same. To learn more about The Eloquent Entrepreneur and more, visit my website at lindamackey.ca. Bye for now.